Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Mike Lindsley. This video is brought to you by our friends at the Brewerton Diner. If you're in Central New York, tomorrow morning, you got to go out to the Brewerton Diner. I'm going to be there right around 7:30-ish getting set up, but it's going to be a big day. At 8:30, I'm going to be recording an interview with the great Bob Ryan of the Boston Globe. You got to come out, and by the way, anybody who comes to this event and comes and sees me and refers 9 Minutes with Mike Lindsley or a Facebook post or anything that I do, you're going to get a free round of greens fees for 4 at Lakeshore Yacht and Country Club. That's going to happen tomorrow morning. Again, right around 8 o'clock on. I'll be there a little bit early, setting up and all the rest, but you got to come hang out with me at the Brewerton Diner. We're also brought to you by Axe Exotic Pets, Welch & Company Jewelers, and our terrific friends at Mass Mutual New York State, Brian Comboy. That's the guy you got to go with, Brian Comboy, Mass Mutual New York State. Tax efficient retirement planning with Brian Comboy. I went with him. You should too. Brian's a good dude, and he opened our eyes to a lot of new things. Brian Comboy of Mass Mutual New York State. All right, what I want to get into here today is the factor of Bryce Harper and the Washington Nationals. I've been beating on the drum for a long time that I think it's just basically time for both of these teams to part ways. I mean, when you look at Bryce Harper right now, I've never been a guy who's blamed Bryce Harper across the board for all of the Nationals' malfunctions in the postseason. I've never blamed him for a lot of the things that have not happened for the Washington Nationals. The last several years, they've been one of the winningest teams in Major League Baseball. They just can't get it done when it comes down to the postseason. And I think when you take a look at Bryce Harper and you look at the future, it might also be the best thing for Bryce Harper to get the heck out of Washington. Think about it. That team is always injured. Steven Strasburg's making $187 million with his contract that he just signed a couple of years back. He's always injured. Other players are always injured. Anthony Rendon's hurt. Zimmerman's hurt. Not that those two guys will necessarily be a huge part of the nucleus here. They just traded Daniel Murphy. I think it might be the best thing possible for both Bryce Harper and the Washington Nationals. And to me, if I'm going to blame one side more than the other, I'm always going to blame the Washington Nationals a little bit more than Bryce Harper. I mean, let's be honest right now. Bryce Harper has won an MVP. Bryce Harper has played balls to the wall since he first arrived in the big leagues. Bryce Harper has put up numbers left and right. Bryce Harper is a monster threat at the plate. When Bryce Harper's on, the entire lineup changes. Washington Nationals, yes, Lucas Giolito and Ronaldo Lopez haven't panned out to be amazing pitchers just yet, but at the time they were still the top 2 pitching prospects for the Washington Nationals. And what does Mike Rizzo do? He trades him for Adam Eaton. Why? Because we're stuck in the sabermetric world, including WAR, wins above replacement. Look, I don't care what they end up being, these prospects. At the time, if you have number 1 prospects, no matter what they're going to be, whether they're going to be really good or really, really bad, the reality of the situation is you've got to get more back than Adam Eaton. Let's be honest. You have to get more back than Adam Eaton. And it's just like the Yankees situation when they had, of course, Jesus Montero. All they got was Michael Pineda. Yes, Jesus Montero ended up being a nomad in the minor leagues. Not the point. At the time, he was the number 1 prospect in baseball. You got to get more than Michael Pineda. So to me, with this Washington Nationals thing, you've got the Bryce Harper deal. I think there's just a lot of pressure on both sides to win with him on the team. Whether you give him way too much credit or not enough credit, Bryce Harper is like an NFL quarterback, folks, in that regard. You blame him a shit ton, and you give him a way too much credit on the other side. And right now, there's just too much about Bryce Harper and the Washington Nationals. Well, this is the window. This is the window now because Bryce Harper's on the team. They can't win in the future because Bryce Harper might not be there. Bryce Harper this, Bryce Harper that. When Bryce Harper's injured, the team, he gets blamed for it. To me, this has just got to stop. I just think the Bryce Harper Washington Nationals thing, I just think time is up. I think sometimes, you get into a situation where the marriage is just done. It's running stale. This is it. So, and frankly, I think the Washington Nationals would be really, really in a good spot to see what the hell they could do without Bryce Harper. And that, again, is not a blame game. on Bryce Harper, but let's look at it this way. You've still got one of the best top, 2-3 pitchers in baseball in Max Scherzer. You've got Strasburg when he's healthy, he's still effective. You've got a lot of youngsters. You've got Juan Soto, who came into his own this year and was basically the rookie of the year until Ronald Acuna started kicking ass for the Atlanta Braves. But you've got Juan Soto. You have Victor Robles, who I just watched all season long with the Syracuse Chiefs. He can go up there and provide awesome speed. He's a great fielder, and he hits for average, and he has a little bit of power that's left to be desired, but I think that will develop. I don't know, man. I think when you take a look at Robles' production, you look at Soto's production, you still got clubhouse leadership in Max Scherzer. I think that whole cloud of you have to win with Bryce, you have to win with him. He's the guy. He's your face. He's one of the best players in the game. You got to win with him. I think maybe some of that goes away, and then you never know. If the Washington Nationals end up making the postseason in 2019 and Bryce Harper is not there, maybe the hands don't get as tight around the bottom of the bat. Maybe that's the situation that happens because for some reason or another, yes, Bryce Harper on the team, in the postseason, they start to collapse. They fold like a cheap tent at a Boy Scout camp. And I'll tell you something else. The Washington Nationals right now, they're probably going to miss the playoffs, and that's going to be a major disappointment considering that this team was pegged to win between 97 and 105 games this year. I can't believe what's going on with the Washington Nationals right now. I mean, look, I didn't pick them to win the World Series or anything. I didn't pick them to, I think I learned the hard way the last couple of years when I did pick them to go far, but I thought they'd at least be a playoff team. My God, this team can't win one of those 2 wild cards. I mean, it's pathetic for the Washington Nationals. So I think it'll be good for both teams, team and player rather, to move on. Bryce Harper gets a new home. Washington has a new look. Washington can try to go win. The window is still wide open. They can go prove people wrong. They can go be the underdogs now without a big superstar. They can use Juan Soto and Robles. They have control of a bunch of position players for a long time. They got a little bit back for Daniel Murphy. Let's see what happened. They traded Gio Gonzalez, got a little bit for him as well. Maybe you kept a little bit of that new framework for Mike Rizzo, who I think is one of the most overrated general managers in Major League Baseball. So it is time for the Washington Nationals and Bryce Harper to move on, part ways, and start new futures. I'm Mike Lindsley. Thanks so much for watching 9 Minutes with Mike Lindsley. We are brought to you by Timberbanks Golf Club, the only Nicklaus design in New York State. Also, Bryant and Stratton College. Make sure you register for fall and spring classes. They'll craft a 2-year or 4-year degree. Bryant and Stratton College basketball starting this fall with Danny Frasino, who's a regular on my podcast. Super excited right now to be a part of the Bryant and Stratton Bobcat situation. Athletics, academics, and excellence with Bryant and Stratton College. By the way, don't forget to download my podcast, the ML Sports Platter, which is all over Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iTunes. And you can get it via Deezer and CastBox, TuneIn, Radio Public, you name it, all over where your podcasts are found. Today, I'm going to be recording a podcast with senior writer of ESPN.com, Ivan Mizell, college football analyst. We're going to talk about week 1. We're going to get into Jim Harbaugh. We're going to get into the hot-button topics in college football with Ivan Mizell from ESPN.com. Thanks so much for watching here, 9 Minutes with Mike Lindsley on IGTV, YouTube, and Facebook. You can follow me on Twitter at Mike L Sports. Hit pinstripepassion.com for my baseball and Yankees commentary as well. As I always tell you, enjoy the games.